Well folks, Martin Brundle's employers appear to be turning against her, as they appear to have recognized that it is in their commercial interest for their nemesis Lewis Hamilton to win the title in his debut season at Ferrari. Never mind that they had used Martin to spearhead their efforts to prepare the grounds for what happened in Abu Dhabi, by throwing mud at him since forever. Never mind that subsequently, they used her to lead their efforts to gaslight the theft of his 8th title, an attempt to hound him out of F1 to boot, by suggesting that it was his ability and not the poor Mercedes car that was responsible for the worst result he had ever posted in F1. Never mind all of that, now that he has escaped from Berlingrad and has a genuine chance at the title, Sky are eager to jump on the Hamilton Express, and Martin had better get in line or ship out. After all, the company has a history of shipping out neutral presenters who were considered pro-Lewis by default. Well, how have we come to this conclusion? But, before going into all that, we would like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of what happened in Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. Okay, back to the stunning revelation that Martin has been put on notice. On the 23rd of January, she was doing her routine stuff of damning Sir Lewis with faint praise. In an interview for her employers titled, Martin Brundle, Lewis Hamilton has lost his edge but can win F1 title in 2025 with Ferrari. Using biased and untethered opinion amongst many other things, she declared, for example, that the GOAT had lost his edge because he had made some errors or hadn't come out of situations that he usually emerged out of. Of course, in reality she was in her malicious style, choosing to blame the GOAT for what was actually the fault of the car's engineering. To hear her speak, one would think F1 drivers never made any mistakes under pressure, or that the likes of Max and Doris that she consistently liked to big up, made less mistakes. After all, Doris, who she placed on the ladder of greatness last year, and topped the power rankings to boot, only set the worst ever record for losing a world title while driving for the winning constructor, and sliding down the grid from pole position. Max, on the other hand, only turned F1 into a dodgem or domestic violence series, as he battered his girlfriend from pillar to post, but what the heck. Nevertheless, despite all the damning with faint praise, Maxipad Media were not best pleased that Martin had concluded that the GOAT can win, so they shouted about the hypocrisy between his conclusion and his CV. Perhaps the Dutch-based media complained to the higher-ups or directly to Sky's CEO, who just happens to be Dutch, or what? We don't know. But word of the video appeared to have reached someone's ears upstairs, and they were not best pleased. However, surprisingly or not, depending on your cynicism, the displeasure appeared not to be about Martin's conclusion that their golden GOAT can win, but rather about all the disparaging things she had said in the run-up to making the grudging acknowledgement. She was immediately made to recount her criticism-laden acknowledgement that the GOAT can still win, despite all the negative drawbacks that she had manifested. They did so by coming out with a strong and resounding endorsement of the GOAT's title chances, and did all of this in a manner that suggested it was being done in her name but without her consent. Yes folks, less than 24 hours after the hatchet job that Martin had done on the GOAT, Sky came out with an article captioned, Lewis Hamilton, Martin Brundle has no doubt Ferrari driver can win record-breaking 8th F1 world title. This headline, in which Martin was referring to himself in the third person, was so diametrically opposite to its predecessor that it was surreal to think that it was supposedly based on the same video clip, which was also embedded in it, for the avoidance of any doubt. Was this a diabolical attempt by Sky to gaslight the message from the video? Or, did someone at the top of the dung heap make them understand below that they were now Team Lewis because it was in their commercial interest? The video was still the same, the transcript was still the same, but the headline and the leading content came across as something of a repudiation of the opinions that Martin had expressed in the video. But here's the thing, either she had stalled at recanting her opinion, or she wasn't given the opportunity to, because in the article, which was purportedly written by her, she referred to herself in the third person. That's right, folks. It is clear from the language used in the article that this was written by someone else, and they just forgot to edit it to look like Martine had written it herself. The opening segment of the article was all complimentary about Sir Lewis, which is something that Martine would never do unconditionally, without it being that she was setting up to make a damning statement. Interestingly, it contained quotes that Martine had purportedly made herself but were never mentioned in the video, and curiously, she referred to herself in the third person. The title had the words "no doubt" in inverted commas, but they were never uttered by Martine in the video, along with many other quotes, in which she suspiciously referred to herself in the third person. Critically, Martine, or her ghostwriter, wrote that Hamilton's story was a gift that will keep giving for us at Sky F1. Well, do you know who is on record as using the word gift in reference to the 2021 bumper season, in which Sky broke its audience records for the third time that season, with the Abu Dhabi finale? Yes, that would be their Dutch CEO, Steven van Rooyen. A bit of a coincidence that the same word would work itself into an article that Martine purportedly wrote, to recount the excoriating opinion she had rendered less than 24 hours earlier, and do so in the third person. Nevertheless, this was Sky stating categorically that they considered Sir Lewis's story to be a gift that will keep on giving for them. Now, who will tell Martine and her boss that many from Sky will need to carry the can for the public vilification that will come their way, should Sir Lewis be engaged in a title run, not to talk of winning it? We can't speak for anyone, but we are seriously considering whether to reinstate our sports package, which we cancelled in protest at Abu Dhabi. So what makes Steven so sure that all of us will come back, or new viewers will make up the numbers? Were Sky so panicked into renouncing Martine's video in less than 24 hours, that they exposed how soulless and shoddy they are? Whatever the case may be, it is heartwarming to see that there is some dissension and disorientation within the ranks of Sky. The people who signed off on the video must be feeling some type of way about being forced into such a public climb down. Can you imagine Martine struggling to big up Sir Lewis on a Ferrari title run? On the other hand, the people who forced the retraction to align with their commercial interest must be deluded or uncaring to dismiss the vilification that will accompany it. Forza Ferrari.